What's going on? It's your man, Jose, aka the Dominican Dream for the Boxing Roundtable, along with my man Rafael once again. And we are ready to talk boxing. Daniel Dubois knocks out Anthony Joshua in what to me, you guys can go check out my past videos. You can go check out the prediction video. You can go check out the prediction short. I picked Daniel Dubois by knockout. So this was to me an easy call, an easy prediction. Put some money on it, won some money. It was, I mean, it was sweet. Anthony Joshua was sweet. Plus 360, Daniel Dubois. Oh man, very
Dream,
happy.
I have a question for you now that you put money on it early. What key things were popping up to you, telling you that, oh, this is easy money?
That's a great question, and that's something that I broke down in the previous videos. I said, you know what? It's Saturday night. Saturday night in the UK today was gonna come down to desire. Who wanted it more and temperament. Joshua, I mentioned in the previous video, in the breakdown video, Joshua is I love him as a person. I think he's a gentleman. He's a great guy. Both Dubois, him and Dubois, very educated. But I'm gonna detach that from critiquing him as a fighter. And what I called him was a talented bum. Joshua is a talented bum, meaning that he has physical tools, physical gifts. He is athletic. He's fucking strong. He can punch. He has both physical strength and punching power. You know, he has a pedigree. He's been doing this for a long time, so he has skill, but he lacks the temperament. He lacks the that killer instinct. He does not have it. He doesn't have it. Many times he treats fights as if they were a sparring match, right? When you saw him fight Andrew Ruiz, after Andrew Ruiz had knocked him down several times, one of those rounds, he goes to Ruiz, he goes like this, yo, like, give me a second to breathe. Like, bro, no, man, you're boxing. The clock is ticking. The fight is
Hmm.
on. The fight is underway. He's not supposed to cut you a break. You know, he kind of just he gets in this play mode or in the sparring match mode. Um, I said that Dubois was hungrier. I said that he had more of the temperament of a greater fighter because in order for you to be a great fighter, you have to have the temperament of a great fighter. Ali, Mike Tyson, Manny Pacquiao, Oscar De La Hoya, all those all-time greats, very, very, very accomplished fighters, bro. When they sensed blood, it was over, and they had the temperament, they had that killing instinct. They just in the way right now. You know what I'm saying? Even Terrence Crawford, who he lulls you to sleep and then gets you later on in the fight, but he has that killer instinct, man. If he sees a window, he takes it. Anthony Joshua, just to me, never had that killer instinct. They said he was on a run of impressive wins. I didn't see that. I saw him beating overmatched opponents. He looked horrible in the Hellenius fight up until the knockout. Yes, he knocked him out, but he looked horrible up until the knockout. Um, and then he beat Otto Wallin, and he's supposed to be this beast from knocking out a guy who's an MMA fighter, first professional fight. Look, again, Joshua just never had the natural aggression, the temperament of a great fighter. He has great tools. I mentioned the power, the size, the physique, you know, the even the athleticism, because we've seen him box before in other fights, but he just doesn't have the temperament. So that's what I saw, and those were the keys to victory. I said that Saturday night was gonna come down to who wanted it more and who just both desire and temperament, and Dubois had that.
That's a very good call then. I mean, I don't want to say I didn't see it coming. Like I've mentioned before, it's boxing, so anything can happen at any given point, especially in heavyweight. That it just takes one punch to spark the lights out. So, um, to me, I think the most apparent thing, it just seemed like Dubois seemed much faster, much sharper from the beginning, and as soon as he landed the first hard punch. it almost seemed like Anthony Joshua was just very shell shocked, and he was just kind of just he just almost kind of like shocked that that he could punch that hard. So um can't necessarily say anything other than that. Am I a little shocked? Yeah, I am. I shouldn't be, even though um, I just mentioned what I mentioned before because it is heavyweight boxing. Anything can happen. It only takes one punch. But aside from that, um, did you notice a little bit of bias from the referee in there?
Absolutely, absolutely, and that's to be expected given the star power of Joshua. Unbelievable. Shout out to the people of the UK once again for this magnificent, for the magnificent audience that they are, a magnificent crowd. Such everyone I've ever met from the UK was super, super fucking cool, man. And they are definitely hands down boxing's best fans. And shout out to Turkey Al Sheik right now doing his thing. The best guy, the best thing we have in boxing right now is Turkey Ali Sheik. I don't care what nobody says. He put a concert up there. I wasn't paying. I couldn't pay attention too much to the band that. What was the band that was playing?
Forgot who was playing, but it wasn't bad. This funny thing that you mentioned that because when Eminem actually performed at in LA, a lot of people were kind of turned off. People were just very
I,
dismissive
I, I remember.
about the performance, and even in the telecast today, the announcers were saying like if it would have been in America that we would have had this big break, a lot of the fans would have been turned off and almost very upset and booing that the show wasn't going on further. But in here in the UK, people are looking at it as a celebration. They're embracing it. They're looking at it as a party.
No, it
This
was
just shows,
that was amazing. That was amazing,
yeah,
man.
it shows a huge testament in terms of how American fans and UK fans are very, very distinctly different. So
Absolutely.
that was a great show. That was a great show. I cannot I have to give it up for Turkey on that one.
Absolutely, absolutely. I'm gonna go to some comments here. Your official realtor, shout out to my man Joel. I put money on this too. Easy money at plus 360. I'm not being funny, but I believe Dubois has mild autism, which makes this even more impressive. Dubois was counted out a few years. Love seeing good people win. I want to apologize to anyone that sees that comment as offensive. Developmental issues are a serious thing. Um, and I said something like not to this extent. And Pete V also goes for sure autistic. Nothing to laugh at. This is a
Yes,
serious condition. But I am so
I
happy
see.
for Dubois because I mentioned something in the breakdown video. I mentioned that Dubois is such a good dude. He has like a mild stutter, and I saw this kind of kid like uh, behavior from him, and I remember when Miller was talking mad shit to him, and he was quiet. He couldn't really answer back. Like he doesn't have like the he's not very articulate at times, and you almost kind of feel bad for him. And I really wanted him to win after that, and he definitely. We know what he did to Baby Miller. We know what he did to Hergovich, and now what he did to Joshua. I'm really happy that such a good, mild mannered, um, man, sort of like a sweet personality, got such a big victory in front of such a big crowd in his home country. He's also British. I believe he was born there as well. I don't know where his parents are from. Maybe Caribbean, but it's really good to see that. So definitely don't want to make fun of anybody. And if he is somewhat autistic or whatever, then it's absolutely amazing that he's now at the top of the world and that he's going to be making a lot of money and he's going to be doing good for himself and for his family. And everybody wants to see him come back. So sky's the limit for him. You got the winner of Tyson Fury, Usyk again. You know, you got it, whoever wants it, man, and he's in a really really good position right now.
Let me ask you something. Uh, if you get Fury versus Dubois, do you think you get a pack out stadium the way that you had it today, or do you think that's just an Anthony Joshua thing?
Listen, man, we know that Tyson Fury is also a tremendous superstar in the UK. He, you know, we had to talk about some ethnic factors. There's a lot of things going on in the UK. Tyson Fury is white or more white, right? Than than Dubois and Joshua, even though he is a gypsy. Joshua is the son of African immigrants. Dubois is the son of, I believe, Caribbean immigrants. So I think that when the UK, when they have an Englishman, an actual Englishman, rather than a British person, like Ricky Hatton. Nobody had the fan base Ricky Hatton had in recent years because he's a real English, a true Englishman, right? Ethnically from Manchester. So I think that Tyson Fury being British and maybe having like actual English lineage, I think he's a big uh, superstar in the UK, and of course they're gonna come out. And at the end of the day, Dubois is British as well. So if this did 96,000, I think that uh that could do 100,000, man. But think about it, 96,000 people, and if Fury wins the rematch, that's gonna be dramatic. What Dubois did today was dramatic. So I think it might be bigger, man. To be honest with you.
That could be an interesting fight, honestly. I mean, and it would give Fury a chance at undisputed because another chance at undisputed because this fight with Usyk right now is just only for the three belts. But with that said, um, what does that tell you about people fighting in the UK? Because it almost seemed as in America is kind of like the hub for a while, but honestly, you have people going over to Japan with Inoue, Saudi Arabia, UK. So it's not only a one thing with Vegas. Obviously, this is more globally if we're looking at it. Like, how do you feel about this just being another venue for a potential big event?
I think that's an absolute, that's a tremendously great point, and I think that honestly they should really make more fights there. I think that the UK again has the best boxing fans, the best crowd, and they will come out for just about anything. And honestly, I think this could truly be the home of boxing. The reason that we still have a lot of fights here in the U.S. is that you know the facts are the facts. The best athletes in the world are from the United States of America. The best boxers of all time are from the United States of America. So the history is here. The lineage, business wise and sports wise, with boxing and many other sports, is here. So we're always going to have big fights. We're always going to be preferred by many promoters and companies, etc. Because at the end of the day, the U.S. America is very self-centered. That they don't have we don't have an international mentality here, as we should, as other countries might. So, but imagine if Inoue fights anybody in the UK, it'll be a huge crowd. If
Yeah,
any American superstar fights, let's say a British fighter over there, like Terence Crawford versus Conor Ben, that would be huge. Um,
yep.
you name it, man. So whether it's Inoue, who's a Japanese fighter, but he's probably one of the best. Well, he's definitely one of the best fighters in the world, right? Wherever you have him, number one, number two. So people are gonna go watch him. Uh,
I think just highlighting a couple of things that you mentioned, which is yes, U.S. has a lot of good athlete, the historical component, but I also want to attribute that to the fact that the United States has a really good infrastructure to pulling these big events in Vegas, in New York, and LA, and they've consistently done it for a while. But not only that, I think the fact that the United States is a very has a very consumer-based economy where people are incentivized into spending, uh, uh, creating these big events and have people pretty much pay the money for whatever event or mega event that you want to push. That makes more of a sense. But things are changing now. I think things are changing. Things are becoming much more diverse, and hopefully this helps shape boxing for the good for the good part, not just to keep it here in the United States.
I mean, listen, as far as infrastructure, Europe is right the cradle of civilization, like they call it. So they have a lot of infrastructure for just about anything you can imagine, including sports and events. They have a lot of venues. Economically
I mean,
speaking,
I,
I'm not an economic a connoisseur or wizard, but I'm sure they're doing okay. I'm sure the UK is doing all right. People are going to consume. Both the United States and places like the UK are consumer economies, right? Definitely the USA. We know more than anyone in the world, just about. But no, I think tickets will sell just as good or maybe even better in the UK if they were to continue the stage fights there.
yeah,
But
I
but but
mean,
but 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 real quick, let's talk more about the fight, more about what's next for Daniel Dubois, for Anthony Joshua. Again, I mentioned Anthony Joshua being a talented bum. Again, I picked Daniel Dubois by knockout. I put money on it. Uh, I could easily see this coming. The guy Dubois to me was hungrier, just has more of a temperament for a great fighter. He has more of a killer instinct than Joshua. So anyway, that being said, he knocks Joshua out. He shocks the world. Didn't shock me. He's on fire right now. He's on fire not only with this victory, but he knocks out Hergovich, a solid, good, strong heavyweight. He stops or beats Miller, another one, 3 fights in a row. What's what should be immediately next for him, and what should be immediately next for Joshua?
for Dubois, the winner of Fury Usyk, which Usyk has said in recent interviews that he's considering, win or lose, he's considering going back down to cruiserweight because it's a little bit difficult maintaining the weight at heavyweight. He needs to eat a tons of calories just in order to maintain being up there. So he is considering going back down to cruiserweight and campaigning down there again. Um, as far as Dubois, yeah, the winner of potentially, if Fury wins, that'll be a big fight. If Usyk wins and he's no longer there, then those belts will potentially be vacated and dispersed, and we'll see what's next. What good other big fighters in there, but he does have a lot of options. Him being, this star, having that star power now with his big win. For for Anthony Joshua, you probably not gonna like what I have to say about this, but man, the fight that probably people thought that was never gonna be made. Wow, Joshua now. What about
That's a
that?
great that's a great suggestion, man. And I think they can still make money. Both
Yeah,
people are gonna say that they're both over the hill. People are gonna say that they're both damaged goods. I don't want to hear that because a lot of people were saying how this was a different Joshua, a hungry Joshua. He was
yeah.
destroying his last few opponents, and now all of a sudden they're gonna pull out the he was washed up card. I don't think he was washed up. I think he was always what we saw is who he's always been. He lacks his temperament. He's a slow starter. He's slow. He's just he's very lacks the days of going in there, and he paid for it. So
You
they
you
both
know
they both lost by knockout. They're still both big names, and you know what? Turkey put them on the undercard, man. Put them on the undercard of the winner of Even though I don't know if Joshua's an undercard fighter, right? He's a big star. But let's say he were to, you know, he were to be compensated for that. If you have the winner of Fury Usyk versus Dubois, and then have Joshua versus Wilder on the undercard, I think that'll be a big fight card, man.
You know what kind of skewed some of the perception of the fans, that Anthony Joshua Ngannou fight. So a lot of people saw that fight and automatically, saw that knockout and they said, "Oh my God, he's back. This is a guy," but aren't considering the fact that Ngannou's a novice. Like this guy, just started boxing professionally like one fight ago, and he kind of did okay versus Fury because probably the guy never, took him seriously. So with that said, a lot of people are still kind of honed in on that last performance, and in boxing, you're always as good as your last performance. Unfortunately, that's how fans kind of look at everything. So I thought he was doing much better. He looked much more confident. He looked like he was getting his stuff together. But man, that, like I said at the beginning of this, it is boxing. Anything can happen, and anything can happen with one punch, especially in heavyweight. So we'll see.
Look, man, anybody that was going crazy off of that Ngannou victory really needs to reassess if they really know how to analyze boxing. That guy's a non-boxer, bro. He's an MMA fighter. These guys, it's you can't compare that to an actual guy that's been boxing his whole life. What Fury did, he embarrassed himself. He didn't take this guy seriously, and we know Fury's lifestyle and his struggles with addiction and alcohol, cocaine. So who knows what he was up to before the fight? Who knows what he's up to now? Who knows what he was up to before the Usyk fight? You never know with him. We know that when he's game, when he's zoned in, he's extremely difficult to beat. Maybe no one can beat him at heavyweight when he is in that state because of the sheer size alone and the fact that he knows how to use it. 6'9"
Yeah.
is just ridiculous. He should be in a different weight class all of his own. He's a super heavyweight. Now,
Ah,
that being said, my man, the Maniac, who's on the show with me, man. Great boxing head. He knows boxing, but he says, "Oh, Joshua did what he was supposed to do to an MMA guy." I'm not gonna give you credit for doing what you're supposed to do to an MMA guy. Uh, I told him that win had no validity. You can't assess. You can't get absolutely anything from that. And this was the proof here. So,
it was a
you
freak
know,
show. It was
yeah,
what it
yeah.
is,
I
a
mean,
freak show.
he also thought that he believed the narrative that Joshua was hiding. He was showing his mean streak. I didn't. I saw it completely different because I don't go by black and white on record. Oh, but he beat this guy. Look, and he beat that guy, and that guy lost to this guy, and because of that, no, man. I look at things for performances in the ring, and Joshua's never changed the way he's performed. Man, he's very lazy in there. He takes his time too much. He doesn't have a killer instinct. He is what he is. That's something that he never changed. And today he paid for it again because the guy that beat him to me was the guy that was hungrier, more passionate, wanted to win more than him. So when Joshua faces a guy like that, he doesn't win. Especially the guy that has both the desire and the talent. And Dubois had that.
That's
Anyway, man,
that's
I'm
that's a very good point. That's a very good point. With that said, I mean, I'll tell you this much. I kind of I enjoyed the fact that the fight went the way it went between Ngannou and Joshua. Not because it was a freak show, but because you've had a lot of MMA fans that know nothing about boxing automatically think that yes, it can compete with the sport. Like it was just that Fury and Ngannou
yeah,
fight
but
just
but
gave a lot of fans, boxing fans,
yeah, well,
a
Fury
lot of
Fury
discouragement.
that was on Fury. That was Fury's fault. He's to
Yes,
blame, and he
exactly.
embarrassed himself that night, and he embarrassed the sport. Anyway,
Yeah,
man,
exactly.
I'm gonna get back to work. This is a live video, so this is gonna post later. I'm gonna do another quick video with the reaction. But thanks for coming on, man. You guys already know. Share, like, and subscribe, and we'll catch y'all on the next one, man.
Later, later.